know if it's working or not. Let's see. Yep, good deal.
I'm probably my next concert will probably be the last time I really have an opening to play Twitter and the Muskie Man, which is
Well, he'll still own it. He'll still own it.
Yeah, but it won't be as topical. I don't know if the original was Traveling Wilburys, written by Bob Dylan, Tweeter and the Monkey Man. And I just couldn't resist.
3B1T.
Of course, you probably remember shaking hands with Reagan.
No, actually, I don't. I never shook hands with Reagan. I didn't vote for him either. I left the state in 1970.
He ruined the trucking industry. That's all I got to say.
He ruined a lot. He ruined a lot. He should have stuck with acting.
Did you see his acting?
He wasn't very good at that, though.
Yeah.
He still made money at it.
He started out as a sports broadcaster, which was weird because he was acting like he was calling the Cubs games live in a station in Iowa that all he had was a teletype. And when the teletype went down, he had to get really creative.
Those darn Iowa boys.
Yeah. Actually, the Austin Lounge Lizards have a song about that. The Ballad of Ronald Reagan.
Where's Majid? Is he working today, or?
Majid said he probably wouldn't make it in the general.
It's late.
Yeah, it is late over there, isn't it?
He says, I might not be able to make it tonight, chaps. We'll try and jump on if I can.
I am so happy to have somebody in my life that calls me chap.
Really chaps your knickers, don't it?
Yeah, love it.
We should talk to Tony and see if he can jump back on for a show or two. Just for the fun of it.
Well, we just burdened him with an almost 2-hour-long distro hoppers.
Oh, well.
It sounds like he's doing well health-wise then, and he should be able to jump on a couple of mintcasts.
Well,
I would like
he
that.
did say this one's going to take me a while. His health is not that good.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
But
you should definitely jump on one of these Saturday shows then so we can get an update from him and say, hey. And he can jump off whenever.
And his wife's health is not that good. So they're taking care of each other best they can. He's almost as old as I am and in a lot worse health. Which is interesting since he's taken better care of himself than I have, at least in the last decade or two.
You know, you can't help the rate at which you fall apart. I mean, it's really luck of the draw.
My doctor ran in marathons, ate a vegan diet his whole life, and had a stroke at the age of 55, and now he can't speak or go to the bathroom by himself. So, I mean, these things are unknowable.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you see guys that are like 9% body fat, and
that's how he was. Yeah,
run 100 miles a week, and they have heart attacks.
Well, there was a couple of years ago a offensive lineman at Tennessee who was fantastic, but he had had blood clots in his lungs, and they had to keep him on blood thinners, and he had to go off the blood thinners to play. And so they were really carefully watching. I think he is a star in the NFL now. I'm not remembering the name right now.
There was a hockey player that actually, had a heart attack. His heart stopped while he was on the ice, and they had to, get him going again. But the first words out of his mouth when he woke back up was, "Put me back in."
Yeah, well, that's a hockey player for you.
Yeah.
And then there's that football player last year for Pittsburgh that literally died on the field, and they brought him back.
Yeah.
And he's been cleared to play this year.
Well, There's a couple of guys in hockey that just have some rather odd medical conditions. Like one of the Pittsburgh Penguins goalies, I think he just recently got transferred though, or traded. Had a problem where he would just simply sweat too much, and between periods they would actually have to give him intravenous fluids. But he was a good goalie. Oh gosh.
Well,
what
that's
was his
how
name?
Gatorade got its start. They were trying to build up the endurance of Florida State football players.
And there wasn't enough meth.
Well, meth doesn't exactly nourish your body, Joe.
Well, no, but it keeps you going and going and going.
Yeah, and you fall over dead.
Bill. Ask Bill. He knows all about meth heads. He's in the right.
About.
He's in the right part of the country to know about meth heads.
Truckers on meth tonight at 10.
I wasn't even
Tonight on
mentioning the whole
mintCast,
trucker
so
thing.
truckers on Met.
Oh no! See, if I wanted to know about like the truck stop meth from a couple of weeks back, the stuff down in Georgia and Florida, then I would definitely ask Bill. Bill, tell me about truck stop meth.
So it's not the same as it used to be.
Bill, you're supposed to turn on ChatGPT for an answer.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
AI had to say about. We used to call
the answer would be ask ChatGPT.
We used to call that high-speed chicken feed. Refresh, come on. Lord have mercy. Copy.
Well, Bodie has been bouncing up and down in the DistroWatch standings lately. Usually between like 42 and 49.
That's a good topic. Lightweight distributions, are they still necessary?
Yes,
Well,
they're still necessary.
We listened to the next Distro Hoppers Digest, and we've got one of them reviewed.
Show's over. Yes, they're still necessary.
It's not just keeping an old machine alive. They work just as well or better on new equipment.
Plus, you can put them on a USB stick and just use it on any computer, and then pull your operating system out and walk away when you're done with it.
That's
Portable
definitely
OS.
Easy OS or Puppy.
Portable OS. Oh man, didn't use Puppy Linux in a long time.
Yeah,
well, I keep trying to use it, and Easy OS is a type of Puppy from Barry Cowler even.
I still hang around on Puppy Linux RC channels.
Well, I first got into Bodhi because there was a Mac version of Puppy that used Enlightenment.
Yeah, MacPup.
MacPup, yep. I had 520 and 550. And that was gorgeous. I had to have it. And then at the time, Bodhi wouldn't run on my system, but I kept trying with each version. And at 5.0, I had a version I could run. And I've been donating lately, even. I think the only open source things I donate to are Bodhi and Archive.
I think MacPup is dead. I didn't see any new versions from 550.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything since 550. And Enlightenment is not the easiest thing to attach to your distro. I looked at it a couple of times and my mind just boggled, so I never did it. But I would love to have a version of Mint with Moksha.
I want KDE Plasma back.
You want KDE Plasma back? Go to Farron OS.
I still remember times when LMD used Mate desktop.
Yeah, and there's still a version of Linux that's forked from LMDE2 that has XFCE and Plasma desktops. Solid XK.
Solid X and K, I know.
Yeah. Well, those were forked from LMDE2.
Getting stuff done at work.
Yeah, I know. I used Solid X for some time.
Yeah, I've had problems with Solid K. Solid X will load to my system, but Solid K keeps having problems with different versions. I can't always get it to run or even install. And I don't know why, because it's the same installer and the same people doing the same stuff with the same programs, just a different desktop. But yeah, I've had to report failures on Solid K, whereas I have done a review of Solid X. That was nice when I thought to include our failures in the show. We can say nice.
You should include failures in the show.
Yeah, we have a section early in the show called "Beautiful Failures," where we talk about what went wrong and what we couldn't get to work. It's like one of the other shows that started to do distro hopping. They'd spin the wheel they'd have a randomizer on distro watch.
Jupiter, yeah.
I don't think it was Jupiter. I think it was Stuart Langridge and guys. But it could have been. But they basically all three of them took the distro, or they had 4 people and as many as 3 could chime in and do it, and they all said what happened to them, what they did, how they had to fight with it, the whole thing, and they reviewed it, whether they got it to work or not. And it was fun because some of them got it to work, no sweat, and others of them were fighting like hell and never got it right. And I'd like to do that on distro hoppers, except there's so damn many distros. We're trying to cover as many of them as we can. I looked at BROS, but apparently the people doing BROS only write in Portuguese, Brazilian. There is no English version.
Difficult. Learn Portuguese.
Well, there's Portuguese and there's Portuguese. And there's only a few million people speaking it.
Sounds difficult.
It's like I tried to learn Tamil, but I kept not having any people to speak it with. But there's 50 million people using it as their primary language, and another 25 to 30 million using it as one of their 2 languages. The island nation of Comoros, legally English is the first language. French was the original language on the island, but about half the people are Tamils, and there's more temples per capita than any place else in the world.
Per capita?
Yeah, per capita. You got this little island with 2 or 3 million people on it, and there's all these big, beautiful Shiva temples all over the place. Mark Twain referred to Comoros as the only real paradise on this planet. Of course, that's where we wiped out the dodos.
Yeah.
Wish we could wipe out some dodos down here in the South.
I was in the Panhandle yesterday, Florida.
Did you wave at my dad?
There are a number of panhandles. You do have to say which state.
Yeah, Florida. And interestingly, it's cooler down there than it is up here right now.
Yeah, there's the Oklahoma Panhandle and the nearby Texas region they call the Panhandle, even though it's actually what makes the Panhandle. And there's also a Panhandle in Nebraska.
Come on,
And
Norbert.
my third wife and her current husband live in Panhandle, Nebraska. What's Norbert doing?
He isn't giving me his flack.
Ah.
He forgets
He's not giving
sometimes.
you flack, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem. He forgets sometimes. He'll get done with the show and just walk away.
Black man. Do, 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 do. Yeah, Eric Adams is being a great addition to distro hoppers. He drives me a little buggy because he doesn't put in half his script until the day of the show. But that's just my personal panic attack. I have not had a drop of trouble with the Focusrite yet.
Are you using it right now?
Yes, I am. I'm not using it for the headphones.
You should.
When I do, I get a lot of feedback. And for instance, yesterday I had it on the Focusrite, had my headphones on the Focusrite, and the microphone was picking up Dale. I mean, I was on Audacity and the little, everything was picking up on Audacity.
Oh, but
All right, I'm switching over.
Switching over to what?
Okay, I can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't hear you. It is not feeding the output to the Focusrite.
Because you do not have.
Let me try again. Okay, try now.
Hello, come in.
Nope, it's all going to my speaker, the tiny, teeny, almost non-speaker on my tiny.
I am
And I
going
don't
to
know
do a tutorial. I need to know what desktop everybody's using. I'm going to make a nice little tutorial on how to make sure.
Hang on, if you're going to ask questions like that, I need to be able to hear you. So okay, try that again.
I need to know the desktops that everybody's using because I'm going to make a tutorial on how to make sure that you've got the right defaults set up before you start any software. That way, everything is using the same thing. Your mute buttons work. Your stuff is getting routed to the right place. Because the problem
there is something wrong. I'm here. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm looking at my sound preferences on Mint Mate, and the Scarlett Solo is still selected, but I'm only getting audio through my machine.
Switch it on something else and then switch it back.
I did that, and I did that. But I am hearing it through my computer no matter what I have selected for output.
Did you try using PavView control?
Nope.
Because that usually works better than any of the built-in tools.
Well, I am using Mint Mate, the latest version 21.1.
Yeah. I have the same problem with the built-in Cinnamon tool. It doesn't seem to work as well as PavView control does.
Well,
but I am going to make a tutorial where I'm going to outline all this stuff. That way, because one necessary step before we even get started, before you even open up a single application, is to make sure that, like in your case, the Scarlett is set as the default input and the default output.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can tell all the applications, you can tell Video Ninja, you can tell Audacity, just to use the default, and it will work. Because if you get in the habit of telling each individual application to use a specific microphone, then it's easy to get mixed up, and your mute button won't work because it's sending the mute signal off to like your webcam microphone or something, because it's the thing that's set as default, but VDO is set up to use your Scarlet?
Well, my mute button works in Discord, and it seems to be either or when I go to Video Ninja. Here, I'm going to use my mute button.
Yeah.
Moving, and now I'm still talking. Yeah.
So
mute button works in Discord.
right, but like I said, each individual application can choose its own input and output source, and
You would think that the computer could set defaults.
it does set defaults, but you're telling VDO to not use the default. You're telling VDO to use a specific device. And so it goes and or you might have like in my case, I'm looking here, you might have Discord set. Let me see. Yeah, see, Discord is set to use a specific device too. If you go into the settings and voice and video, it's got a way to choose or go with the default. You just want everything to go to default. That way you don't have to worry about whether you're this thing's getting signal from this and this thing over here is getting signal from that. I'm gonna make a video though because it gets confusing, especially on laptops.
I just tried to look up Pavo Control, and apparently I don't have it installed.
PAVU control.
Well, I go PAVU and nothing's coming up other than the DuckDuckGo search. So apparently it does not come installed in Mint.
No, you got to install it. And don't get the flat
Sudo apt install Pavu control, full word control.
PAVU control. Just one word.
And don't get the flat pack, you say?
No.
Why is that?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem to... It seems to get mixed up a lot.
That happens fast.
Won't play ball.
Won't play ball, yeah.
Well, it's in. Now, pulse audio volume control.
Now, the thing about PAVU control is it gives you the option to turn off
It
devices.
looks exactly like my sound manager.
So you go to configuration, and there you've got all of your devices that you can turn off. You can specify if they're inputs, outputs, whatever. That way, when you go to the tab for input and output, the only ones that'll be there will be the ones that you've got on. And then you can tell it what you want them to do. That little green check mark, or I don't know if it's green on everybody. It's green on mine.
I have a problem, Bill.
Yeah.
I could turn off the audio on my webcam, but I went to output, and I do not see the Scarlet. I see a lot of choices.
Okay, go back to configuration.
Yeah.
Find the Scarlet on that list. Should say Scarlet Solo 3rd Gen, and put that on digital stereo duplex.
Right, it is.
And turn everything else off.
Turn everything off. I don't see it. There is off. Okay. So now try talking to me.
Yeah. Hello, come in. But
well, now I'm not hearing it. So let me go back over here.
You weren't done yet. That's fine.
All right. Now I hear you through the Scarlet.
Okay. Yeah, you're not done yet. So you turned it off. Now to go to your input devices, and you should only see the Scarlet right there.
Scarlet analog input.
Yep. Change that to digital input.
I do not have that option.
You drop down the thing.
I dropped down the thing.
Okay, go back to
drop-down box.
Go back to configuration.
Yes.
Change the Scarlet Solo to digital stereo duplex.
I had an analog stereo duplex.
Yeah.
All right, digital stereo duplex. Input devices now. I have digital input S/PDIF.
Yep.
All right.
And then make sure that little green check mark over there is shaded gray. All right, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Go to output devices.
Yeah.
And you should have the Scarlett Solo there, and make sure that says digital
Yeah.
output.
And the checkbox is gray.
There you go.
Okay. Will this boot every time that way, or do I have to set it every time I
I
boot?
would, since it's a, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Are you plugged into the Scarlett?
Yes.
Okay. I would check this every time because you're using a laptop and
I'll be back, guys. I have
I'm
to go run.
not using a laptop.
Okay. As long as you
Using
don't unplug anything and plug things back in, this will stay the same. If you unplug something and then restart, it's going to reassign defaults.
Okay,
But
so
as
I
long
need to
as you
leave
don't,
I need to have the Scarlett plugged in whether I'm using it or not.
right? Yeah. Mine stays
Yep.
plugged in all the time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm on. When I'm in studio, I'm using my ThinkCenter M700 Tiny. That's my studio machine.
Gotcha.
Such a power-packed little device. Yeah.
So now you need to go to each one of these applications and tell it to use the default now. Like Discord. Discord should be set up to use default. Mine says default Scarlett Solo 3rd Gen digital blah blah blah.
Trying to see where that is.
So you go to the little gear.
Yeah. Voice and video?
Yeah. And it's all the way at the top. It's the first thing you see.
No, it's not. First thing I see is my account.
No, once you go to voice and video.
Oh, voice and video, yeah. Voice settings. Output device, default Scarlett Solo.
Yep.
Input device, default Scarlett Solo.
So that's set up right.
Okay.
The same thing with video and Audacity. Audacity will just have default on the list of devices that it can connect to. Just make sure that
Opening Audacity to check it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Edit preferences.
You should be able to just go up
playback default.
Playback
device default, recording device default.
Yeah. Yep, there you go.
Okay.
You should be good to go now.
Woohoo!
But I'm gonna make a little tutorial and put it on my Bill at mintCast YouTube page, just so that we've got something every now and then. If you're not sure, you can go back and look at that.
I need to look at some of those videos. I haven't looked at any, I don't think. And here you've been so generous with me, especially lately.
Oh.
$10 for a song? Are you kidding? I'll take it. Although I only get like 780 of it, and then PayPal gets a chunk too. But
is that right?
There are some. One Friday a month, Bandcamp does not take a bite, but PayPal still takes a little bite.
I just directly did a credit card, so
yeah.
I wonder if that.
Well, I get paid from them through PayPal, so PayPal takes their bite anyhow. But yeah, I think. Well, I can open that up. There we go. Here. I think it's my Gmail. I have too many Gmail addresses.
Oh God. I hear you.
I'm sure I'm not as bad as some people. Bandcamp, confirm login. That's not the one I wanted. That's interesting. Maybe it is on my Proton now. Proton has a security feature that drives me nuts because every time I log in, it has to send a message to my phone that someone logged into my account. Doesn't matter if it's my machine.
Well, they want to be able to say they're the most, secure.
I understand and I appreciate the security. I just don't appreciate all the work. Yeah, so security and convenience do not go hand in hand well.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Bill at mintcast.org just paid $10 USD for Hoof and Horn digital track. Revenue share 15%, payment processor fee credit card. So they took $1.50 out for their revenue and 52 cents to pay their credit card holder, and I get $7.98, and then minus what PayPal delivers to me in 24 to 48 hours from that time. Let me see if I got it yet. Log in at PayPal. You know who I am. No, I have not gotten that payment yet, but I will soon. Anyhow, there are Bandcamp Fridays that usually once a month that Bandcamp does not take their 10% fee out.
So you just got to know when that is.
Yeah, and I can actually, they tell me when that is, and I can actually notify all my people. But, all my people are, what, I've got 27 followers on my page now. That's better than my YouTube. About half my followers on YouTube are students of mine from the high school. Actually, some of them were from the third grade class. But anyhow, as I said, I have a concert next Sunday, not tomorrow. Going to be about 7 o'clock for us Eastern time people. And it's on an open Zoom channel, or a semi-open. You do have to have the password.
Well, let me know.
Didn't I already send that to you?
You sent, yeah. So all I need is that Bandcamp link.
No. I sent out the Festival Living Room stuff earlier. Let me go find a copy.
Okay.
Here we are. Make a copy of that. Then go over to, well, you've been talking to me on Signal, but there's Bill H by himself. And there you go on Discord.
Okay.
All these people are fantastic. I don't have the stamina to listen to all of this, but the Friday at 5 p.m., which is Mountain Time, which makes it 7 p.m. my time. BLC, that's my oldest friend in the world, Blind Lemming Chiffon. And he's a lot better than he'll let himself be. He's one of those people that has a kill switch built in.
Oh, you know what? You did send me that on Signal.
Okay.
I see that now.
Well, now you can't lose it.
Right on.
If it says circle, it's open for whoever wants to show up and play, and they take turns.
Sunday, June 11th. Yeah. Yeah, I will. Remind me that Friday or whatever if you remember.
Okay.
Just to make sure, because when weekends come with all these shows and everything, I'm pretty my mind is scattered.
Yeah, well, most of these people are well worth listening to. Maybe all of them. Like I said, BLC, I know personally. I've known him for almost 40 years now. Margaret Davis and Christoph Clover are amazing. VL Bella is pretty good. Sonny Larson and Betsy Tinney are excellent. Chris Conway is wonderful. He's in Australia. Yeah, I know most of these people. I've sung with most of these people.
Will it be a video or just
It's a Zoom meeting, yeah.
Okay. Now, because we're using Zoom for an interview that we've got coming up for Three Fat Truckers. We're being interviewed by the Truckers Radio Network over in Houston, Texas. And they're doing an audio only, but they're using Zoom. I got to take the day off for that. The other guys are going to use their phones, but I'm just not. I'm not. I'm not confident in these phones enough to put something like that on it.
Hey, Fort Bragg, North Carolina just got renamed to Fort Liberty.
Are you kidding me?
Apparently, Bragg was a Confederate general. They finally got around to noticing that the Confederates lost the war.
We white people figured it out then. We changed the names of all this stuff and got rid of Aunt Jemima. So there, racism's over with, right?
And Uncle Ben. Don't forget Uncle Ben.
Jesus Christ, this is so stupid. I can't.
Hey, the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was married to my first wife, and she was late getting home, and later and later and later, and then the phone rang, and I figured it was her telling me why she was late, and I picked it up. And my first wife was black, as was her mother. I picked up the phone, and I go, Aunt Jemima, what took you so long? And that was her mom.
Damn.
Do you know what? That just kind of sets the tone for...
Yeah. Actually, her mom loved me to the day she died. A lot better than her daughter ever did. But that's where I got my two kids.
My first mother-in-law hated my guts and treated me like crap while we were married, and then now she tells me that she prays that we're gonna someday get back together. I'm like, we've been separated for 27 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
Yeah, my first mother-in-law loved me. My third mother-in-law loved me, and my fifth mother-in-law loved me.
It was a religion thing with the first mother-in-law.
Yeah. I had some woman telling me while I was on my fourth marriage that that my first marriage was my forever marriage and I should go back to it. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, she's already remarried, and the guy is a lot better husband for her than I could have been. She had to marry a guy that dropped out of Jesuit seminary to be able to put up with her shit. Am I frozen? Are you frozen? No, you're moving. You're just not saying anything.
Talking to Leo. He wants full-length versions of our theme music for OTC, and Curtis only made like 18-second.
Hmm.
And I don't know why he wants that. But I also don't want to ask Curtis, because Curtis has made theme music for OTC, and then he's made theme music for 3FT twice. We started off with kind of a hillbilly harmonica thing, and then now, yeah, they heard what he made for OTC, and they got jealous, so they're like, can you make something like that for us? I'm like, well, yeah, I mean...
For distro hoppers, I just went shopping on music that was already in the share alike license.
Yep, and that's what I would do if it wasn't. And I think he does release these songs, because that was kind of my stipulation, is that if you make me anything, it's got to be share alike 4.0. or better, you could just make it public domain, I suppose. But there's a
Well,
community aspect to the share alike license.
yeah, BYSA 4 is the best license.
Yeah.
In fact, I had to tell Ronnie at Full Circle to update his license because he was still on BYSA 3. I wish somebody would write an article about mintCast. We deserve to be on Wikipedia. We've been out maybe a few months less than Full Circle magazine.
You have got to be an expert at HTML and all of their. Every time I've ever tried to write anything on Wikipedia, I got hammered by their people for I tried to make a page for Three Fat Truckers, and they accused me of just trying to make something to for marketing purposes for the show.
Yeah.
No, not really. But
well, they're not worried about the HTML. They're just worried about individual promotion. I tried to write a page for a classic songwriter, a singer, Michael Cooney, and they said, "Well, all this information can be found on one website, so it's not referenced well enough." And they just threw the whole thing out. The guy has been a classic for 30 years. He's been on Prairie Home Companion more than any other single individual songwriter.
So basically, you need to be notariable in.
You need to do all the research and have all the links. And the links can't all be from one site. But mintCast has been around forever. There should be a lot of stuff, especially with the Linux Mint website and blog. Because we've been, when did we start podcasting? In 03, 04?
I think. Yeah. I think we're probably one of the oldest, most venerable Linux podcasts out there, actually. Joe.
Tilts is older.
Who?
Tilts. The Linux Link Tech Show.
Oh. Yeah, that's a show, isn't it?
Yep.
Ooh.
And Majid.
I couldn't go and not say hi at least.
Hi.
Hi at least.
Now let's come up with a topic so that I can sleep
tonight.
What's
the topic?
That thing that we struggle with more than anything else on this show.
What about
our last one? We did about GitHub and GitLab, and we didn't actually have any reviews or why you should use one and not the other. Other than we did mention that GitHub was now owned by Microsoft.
It'll be interesting to see if we get some feedback on that, though. It releases. Well, if anybody's getting it directly from Archive, then it's been out since last Tuesday, but it releases.
Let me go look at Archive.
What about that thing? You know that I was just wondering because I was asking the question, obviously in the Discord about improving battery life and this, that, and the other. Is that something or is that a little bit too short?
That actually
or done
is
to death, or maybe.
I don't think it's too short because these things tend to morph into other conversations,
Mm-hmm.
So like what we could do to improve battery life on a laptop, maybe.
Yeah, because I asked the same question that I put in the Discord on the Late Night Linux Telegram group, because I'm on that. And there was quite a few responses as well. And one guy was actually really quite detailed and saying, which of the chips work better with Linux and which ones don't. The 12th gen are still haven't been optimized, blah, blah, blah. So,
As far as mintCast downloads, we haven't gone over 3,000 since episode 405, where we actually went over 3,500. Our last 2,000 was 408. 409 is 1838, 410 is 1776, 411 is 1256, 411.5 is 933, 412 is 876. 412.5 is 423. And 413 and 413.5 both show 0.
Is this my fault? Because it seems to coincide with me joining.
Absolutely. We just went right downhill.
Don't you go
Our
anywhere.
archive.org is not, valid in its numbers at all.
They do not keep up
It takes some wait. It takes some weeks.
They have been fighting a lawsuit that could affect all of libraries all across America. And they have been losing that lawsuit, sadly. But I'm sure more of their effort has gone into that than into keeping their statistics current. I'm sure they have a lack of manpower too, which is why I donate to them.
So what kind of things do you think we could say would be, would improve battery?
We've gone over some of the tools that are available in Linux to optimize battery life before. I think we might have had an entire innards on it, but it was run by Leo. Just a couple
none
of
of us remember because he talked too fast.
Which means we were talking about some specific tools, and believe me, he wasn't talking too fast for me.
What is there besides TLP and other apps that include TLP?
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's that Slimbook battery thing that you talked about, Moss.
Which is super.
Let me have a quick look at what the late night Linux guys said.
And then there's also, how much should you charge your battery? How much should you discharge your battery to get it to last as long as
CPU
possible?
freak, apparently. Auto CPU frequency is a tool, apparently. Obviously, there's TLP. There's a couple of other things when it comes to the Ryzens. Apparently, you can use you can actually use Ryzen ADJ to lower your TDP. Apparently, so there's a couple of things.
I mean, we can come up with probably enough to do an innards.
I don't know.
And it's been a long time since we talked about it. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Moss. I interrupted you.
This seems kind of thin.
So does me talking about headphones for 2 hours, but it never seems to stop me.
Yeah, that's always another option.
Or audiobooks. I mean, I could talk about audiobooks for a couple hours if you really wanted.
When do you listen to your audiobooks generally, Joe?
When I'm awake.
Okay.
Like literally right now I am listening. Well, I'm not listening while I'm talking to you guys, but while I was lifting weights a few minutes ago, and then while I was helping load something into the van, I got my headset in, and I'm listening to the Alistair Stone Chronicles book, 13?
Have you seen his audio bookshelf, Majid?
No.
No, I've not. No.
It is
15. Book 15.
It rivals my Jellyfin server.
And I actually slowed it down, so I'm at 3.5x right now instead of my usual 4 or 5x.
I do about 2 at the most, and then it gets a little hard to keep up with. But I've always got noise around me too.
Oh, Majid, if you didn't find the page on installation, it's right here. I just dropped it in general.
Cool. And also with driving back and forth to work again, the whole drive there, the whole drive back.
See, the thing with me and audiobooks is, and I don't know if this is post-COVID. I mean, in what I mean by post-COVID, meaning the lockdowns and stuff. I've never had COVID. Is that my concentration span has just decreased to the point of absurdity now. I have difficulty watching a 45-minute Netflix show.
I understand this.
I can only manage about half an hour, and so I've got whenever I've tried listening to audiobooks, I just lose interest because it's like, oh, it's 10 hours. Who's got fucking 10 hours?
Well, 10-hour audio. Yeah, it only takes me like 3 hours, but
he listens at super high speed where you can't understand any of it somehow.
Oh, I understand it just fine. That's why I said Leo didn't talk too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I end
Okay.
up sticking with podcasts, because podcasts are generally a little bit shorter. Plus, my commute is only half an hour now.
You got to listen to the podcasts at least 2x.
Oh, you know what? I
1.2
do.
is all I can handle.
My wife thinks I'm really sad because I listen to my own.
Yeah, I don't listen to my
podcasts.
own.
Yeah, but it's more just to see how it sounded, and whether it worked out all right. Is there anything else I can do?
You
Do you know
never
what I mean?
sound like you thought you sounded, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, anyway, those are my 2 pennies for possible innards.
Anyhow, that page I sent you says what all is included in Slim Book Battery as well.
Oh, look, I just spent the last 10 minutes talking about audiobooks. I seriously could do it for 2 hours if you wanted.
We could do that if you want. Oh man,
I am
it'd be interesting
almost
for
done
me.
reading book 10 of Demon Squad to my friend Rhonda.
Oh
See,
man, I have
I
a
don't do
massive
audiobooks
bookcase
because
of books I
I
haven't
get on
read.
the phone and I read to people, or I get my wife next to me and read to her.
But you don't record yourself while you're doing it. Look, you could be making audiobooks.
I'm not that good of a reader.
You don't have to be. Have you listened to the guys that do LibriVox? They're
No.
volunteers. Most of them sound terrible, and it's mostly because they don't know how to do
I signed up
editing.
to LibriVox and haven't even done a single recording for them.
You should.
Anyway, lads, as I said, it was just going to be a quick drop in because I'm supposed to be out
All
doing
right.
stuff.
Do we
So,
want to do batteries then?
Yeah.
to me.
I think that sounds like a decent idea.
That
Of course, I'm
expands
open
it
to
a
everybody
little
else's
bit.
ideas.
Post the ideas that guy from the chat you were in
Okay,
put out, and
Yeah,
we'll run with that. We'll split it up, however.
cool, nice one. All right, lads, take care. Catch you later.
See you, Majid. I don't know what happened to our Eastern European friend, but he dropped off about the second time Majid bounced in.
Yeah.
So we have a topic. What do we need to be here for?
The quality conversation.
Is that the low quality conversation or the medium quality conversation?
Yes.
Or,
Yes. All three.
The abysmal quality conversation.
However you want to call it, Moss. Oh, we were having a conversation about truck stop meth. You were telling us about that, Bill. I didn't get the full discourse on it.
The situation with the drugs is not as bad as it was in the 90s, as I remember. I used to run into uncomfortable situations back in the day where you'd get running with somebody and they'd jump up in the, you'd stop, take a break, and they'd jump up in the truck with a clipboard and a little aluminum foil thing full of that chicken feed, and they just assume that you were going to do it with them. And then when you don't, which I didn't, they freak out on you because they think that
you're going to snitch.
Well, for people that do drugs, it feels like there's 2 types of people in the world. People that do drugs and cops. And so if you're not doing drugs with them, I must be a cop. And so then their paranoia kicks in, and
that's when you got to start sniffing pixie sticks.
Yeah. So yeah, and
that stuff will mess you up.
It would mess me up with the sugar.
Yeah, but you're just doing little lines of pixie stick. That way they leave you alone.
But they like to share theirs with you. That's the thing.
You just tell them, no, I like mine, man. I like mine. I'm going to do a little bump of mine.
Yeah,
I'm good.
This,
I'm good.
This stuff will really fuck you up. It's got to be better than your shit, man.
Hey, your shit
Can I try some?
Yeah, that's what would end up happening. Well, if it's that good, let me have some, man.
And we are streaming. I just noticed that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Nobody told me to stop, so.
No, but I was asking about the legal truck stop meth that was in the South that recently they were working on banning.
Oh, gosh, what, like the The pills and all that, or
Yeah,
yeah.
the stuff in the southeast, the pills.
I've not looked at that in a long time. I used to get the mini thins and that when I was younger, and then it got increasingly difficult to get that stuff, so I gave it up, and I'm glad I did. I think I might be dead right now if I wouldn't have stopped taking those.
Evidently, it was extremely addictive and almost as bad as ephedra from the late 90s.
Well, that's what I used to get, and I would start my day with 12 of them.
That seems a bit excessive.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I
'Cause you
mean,
used to be
I
able to
like
get
my
'em-
caffeine.
That would get me about 4, because I like that tingling feeling on top of my head,
Uh-huh.
and then
You know, there's some other stuff that can get you that tingling sensation without the heart attack potential.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're young, you think nothing can kill you. And
Yeah.
Well, especially in my case where my great grandpa lived to 102.
Beta alanine. Beta alanine will get you that tingly without the heart palpitations.
used to be able to order them from the back of the Hustler magazines too.
What, the ephedra?
Yeah.
You used to be able to walk into a gas station
Yeah, no.
and pick up the 5-hour energies that had ephedra in them, or the pills that had ephedra in them.
Yeah, you used to be able to get all kinds of stuff, but now I tried like the 5-hour energy, and it kind of made me feel a little crappy. And so now
If
I
you're
just
not
drink.
used to it, it can really mess with your stomach.
Yeah. So anymore, I just drink black coffee.
I drink black coffee with my Monster.
My son likes Monster. I'm not a big fan anymore. I just don't. I'm not into it anymore.
Right before the show today, I had a big old serving of homemade protein ice cream that was mostly coffee. Frozen coffee.
Well, kids, I got to get off of here and go grocery shopping.
I have to work for another 5 hours. God, you guys
Yeah,
are
it
just gonna
looks-
leave me here alone, not
looks-
talk to me?
It looks rough.
Yeah. That's rough.
That's what we're gonna do, Joe.
It's messed up, man. Now I'm gonna have to go talk to some Brits while they're repairing computers.
Yikes! Did they call you
I
chap?
know, right? Nah.
None of them call you chap. Because that's what I'm very happy about having.
Yeah, Bill
No.
is chuffed about being called chap.
Yep. Oh, it's tickety boo. All right.
If you want to join, it's called the Coders World.
The Coder's World. Are you a coder?
Neither is this guy. And technically, yeah, I am a coder. Because I do occasionally sling some code, and I was trained to be a programmer, but I don't really do it professionally. Because I don't want to be a programmer.
I did a little bit of BASIC and a little bit of Turbo Pascal way back in the day, and that's it.
If you want to talk about the things that I did a little bit of, I learned BASIC, Prolog, C, C++, Java, Python. Oh gosh, and then we start getting into the weeds of the C-like stuff that I also learned, like all the stuff for programming the Arduinos. What's that
Hey,
called?
What about D? I never heard of it until I just saw the announcement from Serpent OS about how Serpent and Solus are all doing programming in D, and they're not anti-Rust. They just don't know Rust and they know D.
They know the D real well.
They say they do. They say it's come a long way in the last few years.
My wife knows the D real well.
Bill, I'm sure that was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke.
He knows this one real well.
He likes, laying pipe 3 inches at a time.
Not a programming language.
So that was Ike fucking with you, right?
No. He appeared to be serious.
Huh?
We have it on. I think it's posted to our Telegram group. It's from Ars Technica.
It's got a website. D-Lang. D-Lang. Yeah. It looks a lot like.
Probably C.
Yeah. I don't see any. I don't see any.
HTML, SQL,
Okay, guys. Well, you have fun with that.
PHP.
Yep. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching.